Okay, that's a doji, right? When you see a doji on a chart, this is what your mind should be seeing. You should be seeing open, ran up, ran down, ran up, closed at the open. Same thing. Okay? But a doji, this same doji could look like this. Open, ran up, chopped around up here. Okay? Came down, chopped around down here. Okay? Came back up. Same thing. This is more significant. This is more significant than this. Okay? Because who had the last word here? What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay. Oh shit. Oh shit. I hope you get as excited as me. I hope you get as excited as me when you see a whiteboard and a thumbnail in a video. Because you know I'm about to kick some knowledge. You know I'm about to help you. You know you about to be trading better instantly after these whiteboard videos. I hope you ready. You ready? Oh shit. All right, let's get into it. So I've been rewatching some of my content, and uh, everyone loves the VSA series. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I've still been looking at YouTube since I made it, and not a lot of people think about it the way I think about it, and I think it really helps with your trading. So this will help with that if you're using VSA to trade, and it'll also just help with just price action in general. Price action, guys, is anything that price does. Okay, so whether you're following price action with a trend line, a lot of you like my trend line series, or if you're following it with volume, or if you're following it, with indicators, whatever you're following it with is price action. The reason that indicators are not preferred to price action is because the action has to happen before the indicator reacts to it, right? It's lagging. So if you learn how to read price action, if you learn how to look at a candle and see what happened, the dynamic, the battle that's happening inside the candle, you're going to be way ahead of an indicator, okay? Indicators really make you lazy because you kind of wait for them to tell you stuff. And if you notice my trading lately, I have indicators on the chart, but they're not there all the time. You know, I collapse them and I unfold them. I like to see the price action. Then I'll go to the indicators and say, okay, are you agreeing? Are you disagreeing? Am I seeing something that I'm not supposed to be seeing? Am I making it up? Stuff like that. So we're going to go over this. I think you're really going to like this video. All right, let's get into it. So if you were to look at a chart, let's draw a trend line here. You were to look at a chart and you were to see a trend line like this. Make this a little bigger here. You were to see a trend going up and it's coming back to the trend line, but it's hitting higher highs each time. And then boom, it goes to the trend line. Okay. This would be a trend line break. All right. Now, I always say some of my best trades have been trend line breaks. Like, not only do they lead to great with trend trades, but they also lead to great breakout trades, because what happens when you're breaking a trend line, you're really just taking out all the levels of everyone that bought here. So whenever the trend was trying to reverse, which trends are always trying to reverse, whenever it's trying to reverse, that's when you get your retracement. People taking profits and new people are entering this hoping it's going to go higher. When you get a break, the more levels you can take out, the more impressive that looks. Okay. So just think of this as a trend. Okay. Just think of this as a trend. Now I want you to think of this. When you have a bar like this, I'm sorry, something like this going on. Let's make this like this. Start it here. Okay, what is that? What is that? What is this? What is this? This is an uptrend, right? Okay. What does that bar look like if you had a bar open here and close here? Well, it looks like this. Boom, boom, big green bar. Okay. What do you have now? You have a trend bar, right? So what happens if the trend were to at the top of this bar, what happens if the trend were to, well, let's do this first. Let's copy this bar. Let's copy this bar. What happens if you were to see this? Oh no. Let's just do this. What happens if you were to see this right here? Okay. What happened inside of that bar? Does it look like this still? No, it doesn't look like that. It most likely looks like this. Okay. Is that not the same thing that we just discussed with a normal trend? Right? Is this not a trend line break? Well, of course it is. It's just happening inside of one bar. Okay. So you're seeing a wick and you know, okay, there's sellers up here. There's sellers up here. Let me pay attention to what happens next. Okay. So this is what happens next. You get a bar that opens here. You get a bar that opens here. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing? You get a bar that opens here. It does one of these here. Okay. It opens and does one of these. So what is this? What does this look like? Let me move this over a little bit. Hold on. Mm, mm, mm. Does this not look like this? Okay. So as of right now, these two bars most likely look like this. Okay, they could look a little different from this. This bar could have formed this green bar. This green bar could have did one of these for the whole life of the bar, and at the last minute went boom. Okay, and you'd only know that if you were watching it. Okay, it could have went up, down, up, down, up, down. It could have been wide ranging swings. Okay, or it could have did this. Okay, it could have opened and went boom, 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 boom. To look like this. Same bar. All this is the same bar. Okay? So that's why it's important to watch your price action. But let's just, for the sake of argument, assume that it's happening like this. This is the same thing that's happening in the overall trend, happening inside of two bars. Okay? It's the exact same thing. So what you have here now is if this candle opens up here, this next candle, if you get a candle like this, okay, so now you have a candle like this. So what happened in this candle? Well, in this candle, it opened at the lows, okay, or it opened at the highs, the high of this candle, and then it sold all the way back down to the low. Okay, so what do you have here right now as this candle closes? Well, you have a double bottom. Okay, you have a double bottom. But what do you also have here? Well, now you have a trend line that you can draw on the top side. Okay, now be honest with me in the comments or with yourself here. How many of you look at this pattern and see this pattern? How many of you look at this pattern and see this? Okay, but how many of you would look at this in a chart and see that you're going down? How many of you would do that? Okay, let's modify it a little bit. Let's say that it did one of these. Let's say before it broke down, it tested the high, gave you a wick up top. Okay, it gave you a wick up top. So it did one of those. So what does that look like? Well, that now looks like this. Okay, so do you not have now a double top? A micro double top? But how many of you would see this rejection here and see that this is a double top? If this had happened in overall candle patterns, right? You would know this was a double top. This would be green, or this would be red. This would be green. This would be red. You know this was a double top. Okay, but it happened differently this time. It happened like this. Okay, so then what happens next? So you're seeing them try again. Okay, you're seeing them try again. So what does that look like for this? Well, it opened where this one closed. Okay, and it came all the way up, but it couldn't quite get to this high. Couldn't quite get to this high. And not only could it not get to the high, but it lost some of that, some damage there. So then it closes here. Okay, so this is a higher low at the moment, right? So let's continue this story here. Continue this story right here. This next candle opens up here, okay? And you get something like this. Let's say you get something like this. Small wick to the top side. Okay, small wick to the top. And let's say you got a big wick to the bottom here. Okay? So what happens here? This candle is going to be red because it opened and closed about right here. So what happened here? Well, here, depending on how it went, it either did this, it went up, tried it again. It tried it again and could not get as high as it did before. Okay. And then it came all the way down here and tried it again. Okay. Came all the way down almost to the bottom. And then it was pushed all the way back up at the end of it to close a little bit lower than the open. Okay. So you have this now. You have a downtrend line. Okay. How many of you look at this pattern and you can see this? You can see that this is what price did. And not only that, but price broke below this area right here. Broke below this area. Took some liquidity. Okay. Took some liquidity from this candle. But the strong bulls that started this trend were able to push this up. Okay. So this can tell you where your supply zone is. Okay. You have a supply zone at the bottom of this candle. Now, what happens on the next candle? Let's say the next candle opens up. It opens up here. And it tries to test the high again. And let's say it breaks through the high. Okay. Now you've got a situation. Well, let's make this green so you can follow the story here. Now you've got a situation like this. Okay. Now you have a situation where we've tested the lower area of the chart. We've grabbed liquidity from this area because not everyone that bought this candle was strong. Some people FOMO'd into this candle. Not everyone believed in the move as much as the people that started it. Okay? The people that started a move, guys, whether it's an up move or whether it's a down move, they have the most conviction. Okay? The people that, whatever this candle was before this, the people that started this move, they have the most conviction. So when you want to go down to test this level of support, you want to talk to the bosses. You want to talk to the people that believed in the move the most. Okay? You don't really care about all these other people because there are people that saw it going up. They jumped in here. They FOMO'd in here. Some of them FOMO'd in at the very top. You don't really care about them. You want to know, okay, if I buy here, if I'm smart money and I buy here, but I go back and talk to the guy that started the move, I go back and I talk to the founder here, what is he going to tell me? Well, he's going to tell you he still believes that it should be going up. Okay. Let's go up. Okay. So, but how many of you would look at this pattern here? How many of you would look at this and know that this is now a long situation? Because what you're essentially doing is you're erasing all of these bars in the middle, and you're just seeing these two bars here back to back. Okay? But it's important that you know about these bars in the middle because you have to know that the low has been tested. Okay. And if you bought somewhere up here, when you get down here to this wick, you're probably getting out of your trade. Right? Right or wrong? You're probably getting out of your trade. Now let's do a different scenario. Let's say that now, instead of it being a big candle, let's say we get one of these. Say we get something like this. Here. Oh, I got to do it from the bottom here. Say we get this here. And we make this red. Okay. Well, it wouldn't look like that. Hold on. It would look like this. My bad. Hold on. It would look like this. This, this, and this. Okay, that's what this would look like. So now you have this here. What happened? They came up, they tested the high of this, okay? And then they came back down here to a little bit above this, and then they came and rested here, okay? So in this candle, you still have your high or low. Get rid of this here. I'll just make it smaller. Okay, this candle, you still have your high or low, right? Okay, but now what has happened? Do you not have a new area of resistance? You have a new top right here. Okay, so you have now tested the top here, double topped here. You've tested it here, and then there's an intermediate high right here. You have now 3 levels of sellers, 3 levels of additional sellers that these buyers have to get through if they're going to go up. Now, if you see a candle like this, okay, with very little pullback, or you see a candle like, well, let's do this one first. This will be a good example. You see a candle like this, what are you seeing? You're seeing this, right? Seeing a candle come above the highs. Okay, now it's probably going to move a lot like this one, but it's not just a straight line, but we're just doing the straight line. So you see this move above the highs. When you see a retest, what does that look like? Well, the retest just looks like this. If this candle ends like this, come on. If the candle ends like this is a retest to this level. Okay, but understand that if this candle ends like this is a retest of this level, and you don't know how the next candle is going to open, because the next candle could continue this momentum down, okay, which would be very bad, or it could bounce. So if you get something like this on the next candle, that is a retest, and now you're ready to go off to the races again. So look at this and tell me in your mind, when you see all these candles here, did you think it would look anything like this? Did you see all of the information it gave you? Did you see all of the patterns that it gave you? Let's just look at a few. You got a triangle here. This is easy to see. Triangle here. And it did break the triangle, right? It did break the triangle to the downside. And that target was pretty much met back to the supply zone. Let's see, is there any other patterns in here? I said we could find a head and shoulder. This would have to be probably a little bit high, maybe a tick higher. Maybe a tick higher. Even if this, and this is interesting because if this was a tick higher than this, and this looked like this right here looked like this, now you also have a head and shoulder. Okay? You have a head and shoulder pattern because you have your left shoulder, you have your head, and you have your right shoulder. Let's do it in red. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And then once you got the break below the neckline played out, and you've got 2 patterns playing out at the same time. Okay, let's see if there's any other patterns in here that we could get just from this sample. I don't really see any more. You guys see any more? Let me know in the comments. I don't really see any more right now. Now you can draw a trend line on this price action. Okay, so I made this video to show you that this is price action. Okay, when you're trading with trend lines, so you could have got all of this information in a different way. You could have derived it from the trend line, but you're not confident enough taking this setup. You're not confident enough to know that, okay, once we trade above here, once we trade above this spot right here, which is trading above this spot right here, okay, I should probably get long. Why is that important? Because we've already tested the resolve of the people with the most conviction. We've tested the people that started the move, okay? And we've tested them twice, okay? We tested them here, and then we came back and tried to test them again, and they were like, dude, I'm serious. It's going up, okay? Does that make sense? So if you're looking at this pattern here, you don't know that this is a trade right here. And it's a trade right here until it trades below here. So your stop is from here to here. Your stop is from here to here. Okay? You don't know that though because you have to be able to look at the candles the way they're forming and you have to know, okay, this is what this looks like if this were a line graph. Okay? This is what this looks like on a smaller time frame. All right? And I think if you practice this, because I've been practicing this a ton, if you practice this, guys, you will start to get an idea of when these candles form and exactly what they look like. And when these candles are forming and you're taking out the people, now imagine if this happens here. This will be the last one here. This happens here. You get a big candle that opens here. Okay. Takes it out, breaks the trend line. That is what this looks like. Okay. Look at how many people that you took out to come below here. You saw when you came down and tested this guy's resolve that he was a committed buyer. He was a committed buyer. But if he didn't get out up here, if he didn't take profits up here, okay, when it came back down and you breached this level, his stops are underneath here. All right. So if this happens, if you come down and take out this low here, okay, you're probably going to take out this low. How many people would wait for this low to be taken out and then some, instead of just knowing that if we break this level here, we're most likely going to come down? Really, honestly, if you break this level here, this retest right here, that's a short entry. No doubt in my mind. That's a short entry. You're at least going to get a scalp because even if this wicks, even if this comes down for a time and wicks right here, test them again, test the trend line and wicks, you're going to get a scalp off on here. Okay. So just a couple more examples for you. When you see this on a chart, too big. You see this, and you see this. Okay, that's a doji, right? When you see a doji on a chart, this is what your mind should be seeing. You should be seeing open, ran up, ran down, ran up, closed at the open. Same thing. Okay? But a doji, this same doji could look like this. Open, ran up, chopped around up here. Okay? Came down, chopped around down here. Okay? Came back up. Same thing. This is more significant. This is more significant than this. Okay? Because who had the last word here? Well, they've already tested the low of this candle. So while this is indecision, what happens next tells you the whole story. Do they go back and test the top? or do they go down and take out the bottom? Okay, but this literally means that both sides have been tested and they don't know which way to go. The market doesn't, it's directionless. It doesn't have a way to go. Okay? When you see this bar, this kind of bar here, and you see this here, let's drag this down. When you see this bar right here, what happened to produce this bar? Okay, this is a gravestone doji, whatever you want to call it. It's a doji. Okay, but it's a long-legged doji, so it shows you extreme selling. But what happened? Well, price open here. It was bought all the way up. Okay, so was it bought up quickly, or was there some churn in the bar? Was it bought up? Okay, doesn't really matter. But if it was solid green for a little bit, and then they took back over and was able to close it here, that's what that bar could look like. Okay, so what do you see? You see all of the things that happen in a normal chart. You see a move up, you see a consolidation, and then you see a rollover, all in one bar. All in one bar. You've got a micro trend that just unfolded right in front of you. And some people just look at this and go, oh, okay. And you don't get me wrong, guys, you can do that. You can know that this means this. You can know that this means this. Okay. But what if this means, what if this looks like this? What if this opened here, chopped around, overcame, and then came back down? Okay. Would you be more confident taking a trade off of this short or off of this one short? Give you a second because I'm going to decide too. I'm going to decide what I'd be more confident doing too. So we had a trading range. We broke the trading range. We put it in a trading range up here briefly, and then we came back down here to this trading range. Okay. Are the people that started the move in trouble? Are the people that believe that this should go up when they broke out of this range, are they in trouble yet? Well, no, they're at break even, right? So you could be taking a short off of this, but what should you most likely be doing? Well, you should most likely be waiting to see them try again because these people up here are in profits. So if these people up here are fat with profits and they begin to buy, as they begin to buy, so they sold here, right? And they come down here, they're fat with profits now, okay, because they sold the top. So they're buying down here to get out of their profits. At the same time, they're buying with the people that initiated the move up. What are you going to get? Well, the next candle is going to look like this. And you see this all the time. Go to any chart. Go to any chart, guys, and you will see this pattern right here. Okay? You will see. Oh, let's undo that. You will see this pattern right here. Okay? And you'll be like, these damn candlesticks don't work. Well, how did it form? What was the story the candle was telling you? What was the story here? Okay? Because if it formed like this is a much better bearish story than this down here. Okay? But you only get a sense of that if you're watching the candle. If this candle had trouble getting off its lows, okay, and then it finally did, it overcame something. We talk about this in the VSA series a lot. What have you done? What have you overcome? Have you beaten the other side up? They beat the other side, okay? And then they came back down. But when they came back down here, were they beaten when they came back down here? No. They have a chance to defend while these people are inclined to take profits. And then you get a bar like this because you have two groups now buying. You have the group that sold that's taking profits, and you have the group here, really three groups. So you have this group that initiated the break. You have this group coming back that wants to buy to take profits because they sold here, they're buying it back here. And you have the group that didn't sell or didn't buy here that also want to take it up. So this is very probable. But if you're just looking at this, you're thinking, okay, we're going down. Okay. So I think that's all that I got for you today. I think if you if you want to go back and open up Paint, in your computer and just do this. Play out scenarios, okay? Because there's more ways that this could have happened. You know, this could do this, right? This is a much more bearish scenario than that because they overcame two ranges, okay? So when they got down here, You've now defeated this group of buyers that broke this range, this group of buyers that broke this range. You took them out, and you'll probably have enough momentum to come down and take this group out here. Okay. So it's very important to know how the candle forms. And I touched on that in the VSA, but I haven't really made any kind of video telling you how to really think about the candles. But every single candle tells a story. Okay. It's just a micro story of the bigger picture. It's all fractal. It's just a smaller battle of the larger battle. And the better you get at reading the context of this battle, when you're focused on your charts, the less you're going to be relying on indicators, the better your price action trading is going to be. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.